What's poppin', YouTube? Welcome back to Crypto and CoD, the weekly show where we discuss everything cryptocurrency, blockchain, and Call of Duty. This week's subject, NFTs. Now, this is a huge subject that's very misunderstood. So it might run a little bit long. Let's just jump into it. So what is NFT? Well, NFT stands for not just a JPEG. I'm just kidding. NFT stands for non-fungible token. So let's take that in three parts. Okay, first, non means not. That's pretty self-explanatory. Fungible means can be replicated, duplicated, that there's more than one. So something that's non-fungible means that there's only one. It's truly unique. That's what these are. And of course, they're tokenized. They're put on a blockchain. So there you go. Now you understand what an NFT is. But you might be asking yourself now, what exactly does this have to do with Call of Duty or gaming as a whole? Well, there's already several games taking advantage of NFTs in a very basic way, like CryptoKitties, which is just taking cats with unique characteristics and breeding them together to make more cats with more unique characteristics. You have My Crypto Heroes, which is a 2D turn-based game where you actually can gain loot, and those loot can be NFTs. You have Axie Affinity, which is kind of a cross between the two of them. It is a breeding game that also allows you to be able to battle with them. Those are the basic things you can do. But we're not here to talk about the basic things you can do with NFTs in games. We're witnessing the evolution of the gaming space right before our very eyes. So what are the true capabilities of NFTs in games? Well, the first thing is going to be the ability to share an asset between titles. Let's say you're playing an RPG, okay? And you defeat a boss. This boss drops this awesome weapon, and its drop rate is 1 out of 10 million. You're like 1 out of 10 people in the world to own this drop. Well, 2 or 3 years later, they release a sequel. They code it to be able to receive things from the same blockchain. You can actually take that weapon and move it into that game. Now you have a totally awesome, badass weapon that you absolutely love to play with in the first one to play with in the sequel. Now, earlier I made a joke about NFTs not just being a JPEG. And that's because that's what a lot of people honestly think that they are. They think that they can just take a screenshot of your NFT, save a copy of it to the computer, and voila, they have a copy of your NFT and didn't have to pay for it. That's not exactly true. So the NFT is not just the image, but rather it's the code behind the image. That's where like the stats for the weapon that we mentioned earlier in the RPG would be stored. Well, it also grants something else. Special unlocks. So special unlocks can actually be redeemed two ways. Either one, simply by possessing the NFT, or two, by burning it, destroying it forever. Examples of things that you could be able to do in a game off the top of my head with burnable NFTs would be something like a meet and greet with a developer. Or maybe VIP tickets to their world competition. Or even something like granting you the ability to design something in the game. Like you burn this NFT, the developers contact you and ask you for your input of what you'd love to see in the game. How awesome would that be? Now, that's a few examples of what you'd be able to do with burnable NFTs, but how about ones that you just own and you possess in your wallet or your account? Well, you could get access to special concept art or licenses to be able to use the in-game music for whatever you desire, or just access to a special Discord where the developers occasionally pop in and say, hello, hi, how are you? The next major thing that NFTs bring to gaming is that the assets are going to be truly yours to do whatever you so desire with. This means that that sword that we talked about earlier in the RPG, yeah, that's yours. The developers cannot take that away from you. They can't lock it out of your account. They can't lock you out of the account. It is truly yours. You can transfer that from game to game. You can continue to play with it, or you could sell it to another player. This means that every game that incorporates NFTs are actually going to be creating their own little economies. And that's just so cool to think about. So now that you know what the basics about NFTs and that they're not just an image on somebody's computer that for some unknown reason sells for hundreds of thousands of dollars, let's go ahead and talk about the implications of adding NFTs to Call of Duty. So the first thing I could think of would be your skins, your outfits for your characters. Now, this might be a little bit tricky for them to program at first, but they'll probably figure it out. It should be something as simple as saying parameters. This is the top of the skin. This is the bottom of the skin. Make sure that they match up on this portion of the character and this portion of the character. This way, let's say, take the optic skin that I have on that you see in most of my videos now. If you really, really, really like that one, now they make a new one every year. If you really, really, really like that one, though, you'd be able to use that for years to come. The next thing, obviously, would be skins for guns. Basically, same thing, but taken a little bit more extreme. Because we all know that Vanguard's diamond is really, really horrible. And the diamond that we all wish we had back was Black Ops 2, with the color changing every 5 kills. It was beautiful. That might be a little bit different with like blueprints. You get a super special gun like the one that comes in the Attack on Titan bundle. That one would probably be more of like an NFT of the weapon itself. So if that weapon happens to appear in another Call of Duty in the future, you would be able to use that one in its place. This would give them incentive to be able to make basic skins and still cool skins that people would want to buy and use on all of their guns. But if they want to make unique variants, this would make them sparse because you would only be able to use them in very few select titles, but you'd still be able to use them in more than one. I think that'd be pretty cool. Another thing that they might be able to do would be sell off tokens for private servers so that people could host their own tournaments if they want to, or even be able to actually access the files in the game and be able to make hacked lobbies, but like fair ones, like not ones that you accidentally popped into back in Modern Warfare 2 with the Rust lobbies where it didn't end if anybody got a nuke. But you could make that if you want. It'd be super fun to do, but it wouldn't be something that somebody accidentally just popped into. It'd be you and your buddies and just having a good old time. Oh, and how could we forget about the obvious one? Calling cards and emblems. Everybody used to love their calling cards back in Modern Warfare 2. You had things like Schooled or Joint Ops, and you'd be able to carry those with you to future titles. Now, of course, none of this is guaranteed for what Call of Duty or Activision would do with NFTs to begin with, or even if they would ever implement them. But it just seems like something that they would do if they want to stay at the frontier of the gaming space, which I know they haven't lately. But we're starting to get bigger and better games that are starting to incorporate these and show that they have real world promise. Now, of course, this is probably also going to mean that we're going to have to get rid of the battle pass and go back to the loot box system. And because of that, they're probably going to end up using their own cryptocurrency to begin with, just to be able to make sure they can mint these NFTs at zero cost or so to them, so it's pure profit and there's no gas fees. And that I would be totally fine with. You'd be able to invest in a game that you absolutely love, and perhaps that would actually even make the base game itself free because they know that they're going to be making money off the loot boxes purely. And that just about sums it up. Now you should have a basic understanding of what an NFT actually is, how they're going to revolutionize the gaming industry and what they're doing in games now with them, and what Call of Duty might do with them in the future. Now, honestly, I thought this video was going to be a lot longer than it is. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's a much more misunderstood and misrepresented concept than it is one to explain. It's relatively simple. Again, it's nothing more than just an asset that happens to be on a blockchain represented by a picture or an image or a sound that is code behind what you're seeing. The code behind it is the NFT. We get a forefront that we represent as a image that other people think that they can have, but they really can't. This one is truly yours. You are buying or earning or selling the code, not the image itself. I want to go ahead and talk about one more misguided thing about NFTs, and that is the energy consumption, because a lot of people keep saying, blockchain or Bitcoin specifically uses a lot of energy. Sure, Bitcoin uses a lot of energy. We'll go ahead and give you that. It's not that much. A lot of it is actually clean. Most larger mining farms actually use geothermal or nuclear energy to power all of their mining equipment and their facilities as a whole. Now, the reason that NFTs get lumped in with this whole energy consumption business is because most NFTs are found on the Ethereum blockchain, which is currently proof of work and does require a tremendous amount of energy to actually run and maintain. However, they are transitioning to proof of stake, which is a lot more energy friendly. Now, there are a few other already proof of stake blockchains out there that do support NFTs, such as Solana or Tezos, which actually strives to hit zero energy consumption, sort of. And that's just going to about cover it for our introduction to NFTs. And as this game comes to a close, if you have any questions about NFTs that I didn't happen to answer in this video, or anything about cryptocurrency or blockchain in general, why don't you go ahead and leave them down in the comment below, and I'll get to you as soon as I can and answer to the best of my abilities. And while you're there, why don't you go ahead and like and subscribe to this video? Share it with your friends. Why not? It's all free. And I hope to see you next time here in crypto and COD. Have a good one. Peace out.